Hi, I'm Brock from the Pet Shop Boys. Today I'd like to talk to you about keeping turtles in captivity. Tip number 1, the size of the enclosures. Turtles require a tank from a 2-foot tank to a 4-foot tank. The smaller the turtles, obviously the smaller the tank. You don't want to put 2 little baby turtles into a 4-foot tank until they grow to about the size of the little guys in here. Turtle tanks also should have a solid land surface which covers anywhere from a quarter even up to half of the tank, so that turtles can get out of the water under the light and dry their skin and their shell. Tip number 2 is about the filtration systems for the turtles. One option is an internal filter like this one here, which is a biomechanical filter. This is the filtration part of the pump that's in the tank there. There is bioballs in here which actually create microorganisms that will take out the waste products from the turtles. There's a pre-filter there, they'll take out the main solid waste to start with, and these filters here are great to use for the turtles. Another way to filter the water for the turtles is a fluval external canister filter. This sits outside of the tank where the water pumps from the tank into the filter and around 24 hours a day to filter the water for the turtles. The best thing about these, they don't have to be cleaned anywhere near as often as the other filters do. Another option is a sump filter like this one here in the photo. Tip number 3 is heating the system for the turtles. The water temperature should be kept between 22 and 28 degrees. To do so, I use a water heater like this one here. And to make sure the thermostat on the heater is working correctly, I use a thermometer to double check the thermostat's working correctly and the temperature is always in range. I also use a heat light, a basking light on the land that I use during the day to encourage the turtles out onto the land to dry their skin and shell so it prevents disease. Tip number 4 is UV for the turtles. I prefer to use a UV light like this one here. It's compact fluoro and it's a 10% UV, and I put it over the land surface that encourages the turtles to get out on the land, and that's where they get the benefit of the UV, not in the water. Important to put salt in the water for the turtles to make it slightly harder than the standard tap water, and you put between 1 and 2 grams per litre of water of salt into the tank. Tip number 5, it's feeding time for the turtles. For the health of the turtles, it's best to feed them in a separate tank. Feed them in their tank, it really fills up their water, and it also is part of the myth of why turtle tanks stink. What we do, get a couple of blocks of brine shrimp, put it in the water, a couple of blocks of bloodworms, put it in the water, and a couple of blocks of turtle dinners, and a couple of blocks of beef heart in the water. We let that sit in there to hydrate. We also chuck in a couple of pellets in the top there, let them hydrate, let the blocks defrost before we put the turtles in there. I leave the turtles in there for 20 minutes to eat. Whatever they don't eat in that 20 minutes, I take them out and I put them back into their swimming tank and discard the leftover food. Turtles are fantastic pets. They've got personality plus, and it's always a good idea to have 2 turtles in a tank because they do need to have friends.